That is right. Today we're going to be taking a first-hand early access look on Relics. Alright, what is going on, my dudes? So as you can see right here, we have 6 relics to take a look at today. Now, relics are coming to Mcoc pretty darn soon, man. And we're going to jump into how they work and what some of the relics are going to look like at launch in Mcoc. So, as you can see right here, we have Scarlet Witch, Thor, Hulk, Ant-Man, Venom, and Juggernaut. Now, I do believe that these 6 relics, along with 6 more, are going to be the initial 12 relics at launch. Now, when relics were first announced, I was incredibly overwhelmed. I was very confused, man. I don't know about you guys, if you're anything like me, when something new gets added to something already big like Mcoc, I'm like, hold on, man. Like, this is a lot of information, and these things were very confusing to me at first. I really dug into them a little bit, so we're gonna go over today everything you need to know about these relics and what these 6 relics kind of do. All right, so we'll start off here with Scarlet Witch. Okay, so as you can see right here, Scarlet Witch Battlecast, rank 1 of 5, and then you have those 3 little icons next to it. We'll get those after that. Okay, so Scarlet Witch, the first hit grants an amplify buff, increasing ability power rate by plus 4% for 6 seconds. Now, this is at rank 1, okay? Of course, this can go up to rank 5. Now, as you can see right over here, Darkhold Secrets. It says Awaken next to it, right? That's called the innate ability of the relic. It's essentially the signature ability, just like the champions. If I was designing it, I probably would have just called it the signature ability, make everyone's life a little bit easier, right? But they're called the innate ability, okay? But I have a feeling that amongst the community, this is going to be called the sig ability of the relic. Just a little hunch I have. So, Darkhold Secrets. Gaining a bar of power while not attacking or being attacked increases hit damage of special attacks by 6% of modified attack, max stacks 10, okay? Also, hashtag Rising Power Champions, which is a new hashtag coming to the game next month, I believe. Champions increase the potency of this ability by plus 100%. Now, obviously, it seems like there might be like a few champions who would work really well with this. Now, if you didn't know, okay, this is a mystic relic. It can be applied to any mystic champion, but only mystic champions. When you hit customize relic, it gets even more overwhelming, let's be honest. But we're going to break it down. I'm going to tell you what all these crazy things mean over here. But the first thing we have to do is bind. We have to bind this relic to a champion. So over here behind my face, right over here, select champion, okay? Who would be fun to bind this to? Dragon Man. Why not? I think he'd be a fun one to do, right? Ability, power rate, all that fun stuff. Now, behind my face, we're going to click Bind Relic. Binding a relic applies all of its benefits to your champion. Once a relic has been bound, there is a cost associated with removing it from the champion. Now, yes, there is a cost, right? A small cost after, like, if you unbind it like 5 or 6 times over the course of 1 month. But essentially, you want to, like, choose the champion that you want to roll with for these relics after a little bit of experimentation. You don't want to unbind it, right? You're going to find out in your roster which relic should be on which champions, right? You're going to find out really that you shouldn't be spending units on these things. So, bind relic, okay? Bound to Dragon Man. It looks really cool, man, when you do it. It looks very clean and very, very sleek here, okay? So, now, these slots towards the left over here, this spins, by the way, really, really cool. They're like little trophies, man. Really, really cool. Okay, we got runes. We have runes that we're going to be putting in for an ability slot and an attribute slot. Now, this one over here, the one that kind of looks like a flower, that's for an ability slot, okay? You get an additional ability. For the attribute, you just increase an attribute, okay? It kind of makes sense there. It makes sense when you break it down. It seems simple, right? It's like, oh, well, duh. Yeah, but, you know, this is new. This is new stuff. So, there are 2 different abilities, okay? Blessing of Amplification and Blessing of Rejuvenation. Rejuvenation, okay? You have to pick which one you want. Blessing of Amplification. Activating a blessing ability grants an amplify passive, increasing ability power rate by 8% for 6 seconds. So obviously, this thing is geared towards, you know, Sorcerer Supreme, Doctor Strange, Symbiote Supreme, Spidey Supreme, right? They have blessings. So that very much so interacts with Mystic Champions with blessings specifically. Dragon Man does not have that. So that's why I said, like, you're going to find out which champions in your roster you should put this on, right? there's going to be better options than Dragon Man. Of course, he does work well with the actual Relic. The first hit grants an amplified buff, increasing ability power rate by plus 4%. That's nice for him, but you could get more out of this if you had like Sorcerer Supreme in, right? And then for the attribute shots slots here, armor break potency up, again, Sorcerer Supreme, going to be good for this one. Or special attack damage up, that's good for Dragon Man, we'll go with that. And then over here, right, special hit ability accuracy up, why not? Let's just toss that in there. Now, you can upgrade these as well. You can upgrade them to increase the potency there, right? To kind of like you're leveling up your champions, you can level up your relics. We don't know how these are going to work in the game. We don't know if it's going to be a while before we can increase the slot levels, before we can increase the rank of the relics. This could be like a long-term thing here, where we're not going to be able to take a relic to rank 2 for a while. We got our runes in here, and now this is what the relic looks like complete, okay? It's not awakened yet. We can go and awaken this, though. So we're all set here, okay? We have our Awakened Scarlet Witch Battlecast, rank 1 out of 5, with all 3 of our runes placed, okay? So, the first hit grants Amplify buff, cool. And now the Sig ability. Gaining a bar of power while not attacking or being attacked increases hit damage or special attacks by 181, max stacks of 10. Hashtag Rising Power Champions increase the potency of this ability by plus 100%. But let's keep it going. We have some runes down here, okay? The Blessing for the ability slot here. Activating the Blessing amplifies that, right? And then you just have some additional special attack damage and plus additional ability accuracy on special hits. So what happens now? As you can see, Dragon Man's name is now gold, and it's sparkling as well, and there's a little picture of Scarlet Witch in the top left of his little icon there. Now, personally, I really do not like the look of this. I don't like how the other champion's face is there from the Relic. It just looks odd to me, right? I feel like it doesn't really work yet for me there. All right, so like I said, Dragon Dude, not the best for this Relic, so we actually swapped in Sorcerer Supreme for a little bit of a demo so you can actually get a better idea of how it works. So again, quick reminder, when you click the Striker, Scarlet Witch is going to come in. She's going to give you an Amplify passive, increasing your ability power rate for, I believe, 4 seconds. But additionally, every time you activate a Blessing, you're going to increase it by 8% for, I think, 6 seconds, and we also have increased armor break potency as well. So Sorcerer Supreme is going to start the fight with the Blessing. So she's going to start with that Amplify, okay? And she cycles her blessings naturally and every heavy attack. Now, these things can stack. So right over here, bam, look at those things up there, okay? So we have 2 of the effects there already, because there was another part as well. For the Sig ability, gaining a bar of power while not attacking or being attacked increases hit damage with special attacks by whatever, right? So that right there is what's going to be the one on the left with the 0. Every time she crosses a bar of power naturally, her special attack damage is going to go up and up and up, making her better for longer fights. The one on the right is the Amplify passive, okay? Now, every time we do a heavy attack, we got 2 now. We're going to go again, we got 3. And as you can see, the ability power rate, it is going up. It is going up there, okay? Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to build up, right, our special 2. I'm going to go for a special 2 in the Fury mode, and I'm going to get the armor rate. The armor rate potency is going to be increased by just a little bit. Now, the blue button is lighting up. We're going to go for the Striker right here. A little bit of a passive stun there. Right, we're gonna switch it over again, and we got the big pink Amplify. Oh my god, look at all of that power we're stealing, because we got a lot of amplification going on as well. Yeah, so we're not gonna watch the entire fight here, you know. Definitely a pretty nice boost to a champion's power gain when her entire identity is spamming those specials back to back, stacking up her debuffs, the armor breaks, and doing all that fun stuff, especially if you run Mystic Dispersion as well when there are a bunch of buffs. So that's just a little demo of how these things work and how they look in game. And as you can see here, Dragon Man's little face is there on the Relic in the top left. Again, I don't love the way this looks. I'm hoping that this gets a little tweaked. I think the Relics themselves look amazing, really cool. And then I feel like you slap the face of the Relic or the champion on top of each other, and then it just starts to look a little, I don't want to say cheap. Looks a little cheap, but that's essentially how it works. All of the initial relics are going to be Striker Battlecast. So that means that it's going to be operating like you saw, where Scarlet Witch comes in and does like a little tag team action, some little Marvel vs. Capcom action there, okay? And in the future, there's going to be additional relics, right, that do different things in different ways. But at the initial launch, all of them are going to be Strikers. So that's what Scarlet Witch does. We're going to quickly talk about what the other 5 ones do here. I do have some video ideas. I want to make like one video per each of these strikers over the next like 10 days or so. Just nothing crazy, but just little videos. But just if you're curious about what these strikers will do at launch, we'll jump in and let's talk about it here, okay? So for the Thor one, the last hit grants an aptitude buff, increasing the potency of Fury, Armor, and Precision buffs by 16% for 16 seconds. And of course, keep in mind, this is at rank 1. So of course, as you increase the rank, that's going to get higher and higher and just be better, right? But yeah, this is rank 1, fresh out of the box. As Guardian aptitudes, the first time an indefinite Fury, Precision, or Armor up buff are gained during the fight while an aptitude buff is active, gain an indefinite aptitude passive increasing the potency of Fury, Armor up, and Precision by 8%. When all 3 aptitude passives are active, gain an indefinite Intensify buff. That's what Galen has, increasing the potency of future buffs by 24%. Alright? And of course, there are also these guys as well with him. We have the ability slots and the attribute slots as well, okay? Ragnarok's Vigor here. Gaining a Fury or Precision buff grants a non-stacking Vigor passive, increasing damage dealt to the opponent from all sources by 4% for 6 seconds. When gaining an indefinite Fury or Precision buff, and I believe that counts for the Dexterity Mastery, replace the Vigor passive with a Vigor buff, increasing damage dealt to the opponent from all sources by 12% for 12 seconds. This is very small. This is very small. The effect refreshes whenever a buff is gained. 12% damage from all sources. Pretty good, man. Valhallan Fortitude. Gaining an armor up buff grants a non-stacking Fortitude passive, reducing damage from all sources by 4% for 6 seconds. When gaining an indefinite armor up buff, replace the Fortitude with a Fortitude buff, reducing damage from all sources by 12% for 12 seconds. The buffs refresh whenever another buff is gained. So one is defensive, one is offensive, right? And then for attribute slots, you know, Fury buff potency and duration increase, Precision increase, armor up increase. The attributes are typically more so vanilla, and then the actual ability is very much so focused on like a few, does it say the suggested champions here? Angela, Heimdall, Odin. I've heard that Angela is a beast with this. Hulk. The first hit inflicts a physical vulnerability debuff, lowering physical resistance by 8% for 16 seconds. And the SIG ability here, gaining a regen effect or inflicting a disorient or stun effect, excluding parry, inflicts an indefinite physical vulnerability passive on the opponent, lowering their physical resistance by -4%, max stacks of 10. So, as it says, you know, the Overseer, Red Hulk, Hulk Immortal, Overseer is going to be really good for this, man. It really feels like he was in mind when this was being designed here. So, Clobber. Dealing non-hit physical damage inflicts an additional burst of 24% of modified attack and physical damage, right? That's definitely pretty good. And if you're a hashtag defensive tank, champions increase the potency of this ability by plus 100%. So like I was saying before, you're going to find out which champions in your roster are better for this than others. If you have like a rank 4 Overseer, it really makes no sense to like unbind this relic to another champion unless you're going to leave it there for a decent amount of time. You should not be spending units on like swapping these things around, in my opinion. Stubborn. Gaining a regeneration effect applies the following effects for 20 seconds. Gain a non-stacking, this is the smallest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Gain a non-stacking resist physical passive, increasing physical resistance by plus 24%. Nice. Inflict a non-stacking physical vulnerability passive on the opponent, lowering physical resistance by 24%. And then of course the defensive tank increased that by plus 100%. Attribute slots, regen effects, gain potency. That'll be good for Immortal Hulk there, plus additional physical resistance, cool, and minus opponent physical resistance. That's going to be really good for those science champions who do that nice burst of damage. Ant-Man. The last hit inflicts a Power Sting debuff for 16 seconds, and of course, when they use it, they take damage. When a Power Sting debuff deals damage to the opponent, gain the following effects for the rest of the fight, stacking up to 6 times. 1.6% of modified attack and attack rating while the opponent has a Power Sting debuff, nice, plus 8% of modified attack and direct damage burst on Power Sting debuff damage. So, the first one that comes to mind, without a doubt, is Spider-Ham for me. It says Yellow Jacket, Ant-Man, Wasp, Spider-Ham. Just a friendly reminder, Scorpion's debuffs are not Power Stings, so he does not work here. I mean, he could work. You can get the Power Sting from the thing, but better champions for it. Twin Stinger. Inflicting a Power Sting debuff inflicts an additional Power Sting debuff lasting 16 seconds. An opponent with Power Sting takes 16% of modified attack and direct. I'm excited to test that out. Spite Stinger. Inflicting a Power Sting debuff inflicts a taunt passive. That's also so good, man, actually. That's really good for Spider-Ham too. Cooldown 16 seconds though. Not the best there. The first one, I mean, that just seems so much better. Put 2 on, but that also has a cooldown of 16 seconds. Okay, interesting. We'll have to see. We'll have to test it out. But then over here, Power Sting potency up. That's just great. That's just great. Power Sting duration up is really great, man. Special attack damage. Yeah, that's fine. That's whatever. Dude, Spider-Ham is going to be a beast with this, man. He's going to be a beast with this. We got Venom Battlecast here. So the last hit inflicts a bleed vulnerability debuff, increasing the potency of future bleeds by whatever. Now for each unique buff on the champion, inflict an indefinite bleed vulnerability debuff, increasing the potency of future bleeds by plus 16%. Max stacks of 6. So of course, Venom, Carnage, Venompool, they're going to be great. Red Goblin, I don't believe he bleeds. He does incinerates, doesn't he? Yeah, I'm not the biggest Red Goblin guy, so I'm not 100% sure, but I don't believe he's going to be too amazing for this. But over here, Ravenous Strike. For each unique buff on the champion, bleed debuffs inflicted by hits landed against bleeding opponents gain 0.2000 second duration and plus 2% ability accuracy, max buffs 6. And then Merciless Strike. For each unique buff on the champion, hits landed against a bleeding opponent gain 2% critical damage rating and a flat plus 4% critical rating. This is going to be really solid for Venom, Venompool, and Carnage for real, man. They're going to be really good with this. It's going to be really fun for them. And then just the attributes, you know, Fury, Precision, Cruelty, Potency increase, Bleed debuff potency increased. This one very specific here. Plus our minus 8% mutation, buff duration, and cooking meter charge timer. That's going to be great for Venom, man. Venom and Venompool are going to be great here. And my personal favorite, the Juggernaut one. I want to see if you guys can guess why this one is my favorite, okay? The first hit grants a Berserk buff, increasing attack rating while unstoppable for 16 seconds. Landing an unstoppable hit grants the following effect for the rest of the fight, stacking up to 10 times, plus 6% of modified attack in damage on unstoppable hits. Now, Exemplar of Intensity. Gaining an unstoppable effect grants an intensified passive, increasing the potency of future boss by 8%. Cool, I don't care about that. I care about this. Gaining an unstoppable effect grants a rejuvenate passive, increasing regeneration rate by 8% for 16 seconds. Defensive tank champions also gain a regen passive, recovering 1.5% of max HP and health over 2 seconds, plus 1% regen effect potency, and plus 2% combat power rate. I mean, are we freaking kidding, dude? Because he wasn't tanky enough. Now his regen rate is going to be increased. So now Rintrah can heal from suicides and also have more willpower healing on his root debuff and from his Sig ability, the regen when you get hit while unstoppable. And you're going to get a regen passive and your attack rating is going to be increased. Are we kidding, dude? Are we actually joking? Like, it's just... I would never take this off of him. This is what I'm saying. Like, there is, like, you are not going to find me. I actually don't know if I want the increased combat. Yeah, I do. It's only 2%. So, you know, like that. It's just some of these combos, man. They're going to be really, really good. And this is one of them, in my opinion, man. I'm definitely excited to mess around with this quite a bit. I haven't tested too many things yet, but this is just crazy. Like, some of these are going to be crazy, man. You know, I mean, making Rintrah tankier, that's crazy, man. It's just crazy stuff. So yeah, it's still yet to be seen how we're going to be getting these relics, but this is essentially how they work, what the initial ones can do, you know? Like I said, I want to make at least one video for each of these over the next 2 weeks, but I do have a lot of other videos I have to make as well. I have to make, I finish off my rank for stealthy video, which is really cool, coming very soon. Make sure you check that one out, plus some other stuff as well, man. But Relics, dude, exciting stuff. I'll be the first to admit I was not excited about Relics when they were first released. I really was not. But after actually seeing them in game, I do think there is a lot of potential with these things. I do hope they're rolled out in a nice way. Like I said, I don't know how it's going to be. We're going to be like, going about actually getting these things at first. So we're going to have to see how that is, man. I'm hoping that it's nothing too silly, so we'll have to see. But anyway, my dudes, that is it for this video. Initial breakdown of how relics work, what they do, what they're used for, right, and how to actually operate them in it. If you want to see more of these things in action, like I said, over the next 10 days or so, I'm going to be uploading some videos on these things, just showcasing different champions with these relics. Of course, we're going to make a Rintrah one. I'm very excited for that, right? I'm going to mess around Spider-Ham as well. There's going to be a bunch of stuff coming up. So that's it for this video. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, drop your boy a big old like. Let me know what you think about Relics, the first iteration of Relics, in the comment section below. And make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of those Relic videos coming to you over the next 10 days or so. I'll be seeing you around.